This is The Wheel Weaves, a Wheel of Time podcast with no spoilers. Welcome everyone, I'm your host Dani, and I'm the first-time reader who's going through this 15-book series chapter by chapter. As always, there's no spoilers past the chapter we're covering, and that means it's totally safe for first-time readers. I'm joined by my co-host Brett, who's a longtime fan of the series, and he's acting as my tour guide on this journey. We'd like to acknowledge and thank our executive producers, Brandy and Aaron Kirkwood. Before we get into things today, we just want to thank and welcome Mikea, Knox, and Arezoo, Kashefi to the Wheel Weaves Patreon team. We also really want to thank Scott Higdon for increasing his pledge over at patreon.com/thewheelweavespodcast. We also have a producer-level patron to welcome, so thank you to Sarah Wyatt. We really appreciate your generosity, and thank you so much to all of our new patrons this month. And this is our last episode of 2020, so we just want to say happy holidays, happy new year. Here's to a 2021 that hopefully doesn't suck as bad as this year did. And thanks to everyone who stuck with us through 2020. May your hats fly as high as your dreams. In this episode, we're talking about chapters 7 and 8 of The Shadow Rising.
Yeah, so chapter 7 is Playing with Fire, and chapter 8 is Hard Heads.
Yeah.
And once again, they go together really nicely.
I love this.
Yeah.
I think this has been my favorite start to a book.
For real?
Yeah, because we're into like chapter 8, and by this point in The Dragon Reborn,
yeah,
I was so annoyed. It was so boring. Nothing was happening.
Yep.
Even the exciting thing that happened wasn't even that exciting.
It was the whole stuck in the mountains. We had that really bad chapter
with
where
like
they
a Trolloc
left the
attack
mountain.
that was then never explained or talked about again.
Not yet.
Oh my god.
But you like these chapters?
This is great.
It's a good exchange, and I gotta say,
so funny.
Fair warning, this episode might be like rated R for explicit, butt pinching, things of that nature. But
explicit butt pinching.
Fan rated best butt pinch of the series.
Yeah, I think so. It's good. So, do you want to get us started?
Yeah, and then we can jump into it afterwards.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
Fun fact for today is one more on stats. And this is one I like to do for every book about the stats on the perspectives between the characters for the genders, male versus female perspectives. So we do know this is the second longest book, and about 60% of this book is from a male perspective. So that's really similar to last book, and then a bit under 40% is from the female, which is a little bit less than last book. But by word count, we've got the most words from a female so far, which comes in at about 150,000 words for females in this book.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and that makes sense too, because
it's a lot longer.
We have more words in this book.
Yeah, we do. So there is a bigger chunk, but
okay.
It is going to start tilting in the direction of female viewpoints going forwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get going in a female perspective.
We do. We have lots of that.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Funny stuff happens.
Okay, so last time we had Nynaeve, Egwene, and Elaine, who were questioning the Black Aja quite unsuccessfully, in my opinion.
Yeah, in everybody's opinion.
Yep, and Moiraine told them about the Rand situation, the Rand, Mat, and Perrin situation. And so Egwene decides to give up her marital rights to Rand.
Yeah, finally,
and
I guess.
Passes him along like a hot potato to Elaine.
Yep, scoops him up.
And that's where we enter here.
Yeah.
So they come up with a plan to tell Rand what's up.
We get to see the scooping up of the hot potato.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like literally what happens.
Uh-huh.
There you go. But it's like a lot of fun stuff happens.
And the passing. The hot potato.
And the confusion of that potato.
You'll be so confused.
Rand's the potato.
Yeah. Okay, so chapter 7 is aptly named Playing with Fire. Hot.
There's
hot
some
potato.
Okay.
No, okay.
That was good. That was a good one, yeah.
And then we get the wheelie snake picture.
Yes, as is tradition when you're not really sure what to put.
Okay. I could have seen them maybe putting the flame of Tarvalin.
Oh yeah, because there's like a whole lot of not relationship stuff.
Well, there's use of the power, especially in this chapter.
Yeah.
Or even the Dragon Fang.
Okay.
If that's what that means.
Yeah.
Because we got significant Rand using the power in this chapter.
For good or bad. I don't know.
For good.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? This is great. I was,
well, we got to talk about that then, if that's your opinion.
All through book 2, I was like, ooh, yeah, use the power. This is great.
do it.
And then all through book 3, I was like, ugh. Stop using the power. This is bad. And now I'm back into, all right,
okay.
use the power. This
back
is
to
fun.
using it.
It's interesting. It's fun.
Nothing bad can happen.
Well, bad things, of course, can happen, but that's interesting.
Okay.
When you're reading a book.
Okay, let's jump into this then, because we have things to talk about, and I'm going to need your opinion on a few things.
Okay, so we get Egwene's point of view, and we have Egwene and Elaine showing up at Rand's room, like super early the next morning. Elaine is all dolled up in sapphires and an off-the-shoulder, skimpy, silk blue dress.
Well, she's dolled up, but she's also dressed down, because her dress is tugged low.
Oh.
After some discussion.
Okay.
It's pointed out.
Yeah, because we have Egwene dressed like a grandmother in a giant shawl showing no skin.
Wrap yourself up in a scarf.
Yes, because the last thing you want when you tell a man you don't love him is to tease him with your skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Elaine's coming in with her dress pulled down low.
Oh, lots of skin.
Because Rand probably likes boobs.
Who doesn't?
You know? It's science. But did you note where they got the fancy stuff from?
Vendia. What's her name?
Avienda. Avienda.
Yeah.
So the Aiel woman has a bunch of jewels and scarves and stuff.
Cool.
So.
Weird.
And they're not sure why, but she does.
She probably stole them.
What?
I don't know. Like, why would she have that stuff?
That's rude.
I don't know. I don't know her at all.
Well, we know she's a warrior, but maybe she's got good taste. Like in other stuff. You can like both things.
All right. So, they are startled by the maidens guarding his room.
Nope.
What do you mean?
They're not maidens guarding his room. They're stone dogs.
Oh, I thought there were women there too.
No, they switched it up.
Oh. I guess I just assumed it was maidens from last night.
Yeah.
Because it only says Aiel.
So, I mean, that's why I pointed it out, because they got the stuff from Avienda, who's a maiden, but when they get to his room, it's 6 stone dogs guarding.
Oh, okay.
So it's just important to note that they did switch it up.
I did note that Gaul is there.
Yeah, he is. He's the leader of the stone dogs.
I thought there were maidens and Gaul.
Yeah, it doesn't say that from what I could see.
Okay. That's fine. I'm sure I just read it wrong. So Egwene says they need to tend to Rand's wounds. And Gaul's like, yeah, they're probably bothering him because he's in such a shitty mood.
Yeah, this is big, though.
Yeah, he chased away some High Lord this morning.
Well, a bunch of them.
And one of them was Torian.
Who he physically threw out of the room.
Yeah, physically throwing him out like Uncle Phil throwing out Jazz.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Old school reference.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Fresh Prince?
Yeah, no, I know.
Okay.
That's like really old.
But he literally throws him out.
Yeah, no, I get that.
That's the image I get.
That's the funny thing, so.
Okay.
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah,
you can't just throw like Fresh Prince.
Why not?
I just wasn't expecting it. Okay. If we're going to go that way, we're going to go that way. That's fine. I have to come up with some now.
Yeah, that's what came to mind. Anyway, do you want to talk about that? Or...
So, yeah. Fresh Prince was a show from a long time ago.
No, you want to talk about Rand.
With Will Smith.
Okay. Do you want to talk about Rand physically throwing someone out of his room?
Yeah, so it wasn't just anybody. It was High Lord Torian. And we've seen Torian. He was the guy who was doing snooping last night.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was up to some shady stuff.
Some stuff with Barrelane.
Yep,
and he had a sword when he's not really supposed to.
Yeah, and this is really important because Rand references Torian again later in these chapters when he talks about Torian and it's like disgusting suggestions or something like that.
Oh.
So it's like something that comes up later, so we can kind of highlight that again.
Okay.
So he threw Torian, that guy, out of the room, and then the Stone Dogs bet on how far he would slide.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm for it.
But it's important who it is, yeah.
Go Rand.
Yeah.
So Gwen thinks about how much Rand has changed, and I don't know if he has, like, changed in his morals and values. He's just changed in his position in life.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a good point, though, because that's one of my big questions we got to come back to at the end of this, is Rand doesn't put up with crap, and he never really has in that sense.
Yeah.
So it's just like Egwene's perspective, too.
And also, the things that he's throwing people out for, or the things that he's changing in tier.
His proclamations.
It seems for the better. It seems like his morals and values.
And I mean, we get a snippet of the pushback, but it's the whole proclamations about, like, not being able to rape and pillage your own citizens, basically, too, that the High Lords don't like, so. Right.
Okay, so Egwene and Elaine head in, and Rand scowls, but then realizes who it is. And he says he was expecting ... someone else.
Yep. which is like, we're not sure who.
No, but we know that he is expecting the High Lords to come talk about the taxes.
So, like, again, maybe they're just coming in, so.
Or maybe something else. Who knows?
More nefarious or?
More nefarious.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't used that word in a long time. So.
No, I like it. But then Rand thinks that maybe Moiraine sent them.
Yeah, there's like immediate
she's
suspicion.
Been pushing, and here they are, you know, to try to convince him to do more things. And they're like, no, man, we don't want you to start a war.
Yeah, it doesn't help that they're using the same language that Moiraine does. Like, oh, we're gonna help you.
Mm-hmm.
We just want to help Rand, and that immediately puts like red flags up in his brain.
Oh, he's so paranoid.
Yeah.
Rand is very paranoid. I don't know if it's the madness or if it's just his new position that forces him to be super paranoid.
Yeah. So like, what's the
or
balance
the constantly being chased by like Forsaken.
That too.
And Dark Friends and
the
Shadow
Dark
Spawn.
Yeah, all that stuff.
I mean, like,
it's like the
a
regular
certain sense of paranoia is understandable
and probably healthy considering last night his own reflections tried to murder him. So there's that too.
Ooh,
Paranoia is a good thing, but one thing I want to point out, did you note how Egwene notices how Rand is moving now?
No.
So he's moving more like Lan and the Aiel.
Oh, yeah.
He's like getting more, he's leveling up a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is where Egwene tells him not to be foolish and tells him some story about him getting in trouble from Nynaeve when he stole some brandy as a kid.
Yeah.
And it's all like
Him
funny
and,
and cute. And then he smiles and tells a story about Egwene getting in trouble once too. And then Egwene's like, hey, we aren't here to talk about old times.
Yeah, no.
I want to be like, you started it.
She does, but like that's entirely...
But you're not supposed to talk about me. I'm only allowed to talk about you.
Yeah.
So Egwene says that they are here to help him. And he goes, oh yeah? With what? How to make High Lords do what I say? Or help with unwanted dreams?
Yeah.
And then his eyes dart to Elaine real fast.
Yeah, well, he kind of gets off topic because they say they're here to help him, and he starts like coming up with things he needs help with.
Yeah.
But they don't want to help him with any of that stuff.
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
But the unwanted dreams, definitely.
Yeah, that was just last night. He had that main Elaine dream.
He did.
So they have come, turns out, to help him with channeling.
Yeah, let's get to that.
And I am so excited.
Were you?
Because you have to check this off of the board.
Sure.
From, I don't know how long ago.
About like them trying to help?
When I said Egwene was going to help Rand with channeling.
Okay, so you do get a point for saying that Egwene is going to help Rand, but in reality, how much does she actually help him?
Oh, that part doesn't matter.
Okay. What? Really? Doesn't matter at all?
No, because I told you from the beginning, I think it was maybe the beginning around the Great Hunt, where she was thinking about how there has to be a way to help men from going crazy.
Sure.
And I had that whole thing about how Egwene is going to be interested in Rand channeling and going to help him with channeling.
So we get
help him not go crazy with channeling.
We get a start then. Okay.
100%. This is the first step, but I'm still pumped about it because
that's fair. I'll give you that then.
Feel like this is a win for me.
This is like step one because I thought you were saying like, oh, she's helped him now learn how to channel and not go crazy.
No,
it's like step one of a 10-point plan.
Yes.
It's good. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, to be fair, she does do something for him, and we can talk about that too.
Yes. Okay. So I just say go Egwene, questioning Moiraine, talking about how Aes Sedai can't help Rand.
Yeah, like she does have that in her brain that they don't know everything, and they don't.
And they absolutely don't, and we've seen that, and that's something I've specifically said, and I keep on talking about how it really does seem similar to me, so why don't you just try? Have a conversation with him, and that's why I love what Egwene does here, because she just goes to talk to him about it.
Yeah.
What do you feel
without
when you
like
do
any,
this?
Other ulterior motives
other than just like,
so.
Can I help you with this? Because it seems like you don't have a good grasp on what's going on here.
Yeah, and you kind of have to consider, like, literally every other male channeler that has ever been in custody of Aes Sedai, it's been because they've been captured and they're going to be gentled.
Yeah.
So
they're
like,
not having a conversation with them.
No, it's
about
all bad.
How they...
How do you feel
how
when
do
I
you
am...
channel the source or whatever.
Yeah. They just immediately shut him down and, gentle him. So there is no conversation.
Right. But in this case, with Moiraine so desperate to help Rand, don't you think having a conversation with him about what he's feeling... Like, she knows how to teach...
Yeah.
women how to channel, sort of.
But here's the thing about Aes Sedai, is that asking questions that you don't know the answer to isn't very Aes Sedai-like.
Yeah, I know, but also Moiraine going completely out of her way to help a man who channels also isn't very Aes Sedai-like.
Good point. Okay.
So let's be real about what the goal is here, Moiraine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ah, there you go.
Back to this. So Rand is suspicious. He wants to know if Moiraine sent you, and he says he won't be caught up in twisty Aes Sedai plots, and now they have to excuse him to go rule Tyr.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
So-
he does have to rule Tyr.
Yeah, but Egwene's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then Elaine steps in and tells him that they came because they care about him and want to help. So he can give them an hour to try. And he agrees.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay.
So, here we go.
Yeah, we're going to do this. Let's get into this like lesson.
Let the lesson begin, because...
Hold on. Before we do, just a couple like little tidbits of information, because we get a whole lot of tidbits of
Yeah,
information.
we get lots. Okay.
Lots of them. One of them is that Egwene has never rated her like power level to Moiraine.
Right.
In the same sense she does here.
Yeah, she's like, I'm so much more powerful than that bitch.
But crazy more powerful. But,
Yeah.
and we already kind of knew that there's like a way that women can tell
Yeah.
how strong each other are. But here, it's just Egwene showing that she can do that too now.
Yeah. She also does say something here at this point where she's like, Rand, you must be at least as strong as me.
Oh man, that is so good.
Because she knows he's strong, but she doesn't know.
She doesn't know how strong he is.
She doesn't know.
Yeah,
and
that's
she
what
thinks
happens.
She's so strong.
See, there's an issue what happens when someone just tells you how great you are over and over and over again. Bad things happen because you start to believe that you're better than everybody else.
Ah, shoot. Okay.
Even if it's not true.
Right.
So, and she does that whole little delving of Rand's wound for herself.
Oh, yeah.
And is basically
no. That's
horrified.
where I am right here.
Oh,
because
okay.
this is where Egwene opens herself up to let Saidar in, and she wants to know if Rand can sense her channeling. But it turns out he says he can't.
Yeah, not so much.
Not so much.
Yet.
Yeah, and then this is where she says she's more powerful than Moiraine and tries to, like, reach out to heal his side wound that Moiraine can't. And
Yeah.
she's like, well, let me try.
You know, and there's something to it for the fact that if she is that much more powerful than Moiraine, then you can do things that maybe other Aes Sedai can't.
Yes.
Like, there is some
I
truth
agree,
to that.
yeah.
Except she doesn't know how to heal at all.
Well, yeah, and also it's super evil.
Yeah, apparently it's all the darkness in the entire world is resting in Rand's side.
That's,
so that's
terrible.
That's a bad description.
Yeah, I also noted that it made her stomach churn,
Sure.
and those particular words make me think of the taint.
Does it?
Yeah, it does.
Did we get that description of the taint?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
So
So what are you saying?
nothing.
Okay.
I'm just noting it.
Well, I mean,
It
there's
has
something
something
there.
to do with that.
There is something there because we know the taint is from the Dark One, right? So
Yes.
it's like maybe there's some sort of Dark One residual evil. That's where he got stabbed by Baalzamon / Ishamael's,
Yes.
darkness spear or whatever that was
Yeah.
in his side in the sky battle.
Right,
So,
and probably maybe one of those specially forged weapons.
yeah, absolutely.
Like Thakendar or whatever, right?
Yeah.
That's what it's called?
I mean, that's what his weird power sword thing, spear was. So,
Right,
yeah.
okay. All right. So, Egwene thinks that nothing can heal this.
Yeah.
wound, basically.
And wonder why he's not, like, crying on the floor.
Yeah,
So, like, hey.
there you go. So, she lets go, and then he says that he does feel goosebumps, but that's just from thinking about her channeling gives him the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah.
And then he says he feels them again, but it's right when Elaine starts to channel.
Yeah, so they pull a fast one on him.
And so maybe he can feel something.
Well, that's what it seems like they come to the conclusion of really fast.
Yeah, and I don't really think so.
No? Okay.
No.
I mean, that's the whole, like, trade-off, because we don't really know exactly what the timeline is. She
Yeah.
embraces Saidar, he feels goosebumps, she says, okay, I let go, and then he feels them go away, and then Elaine secretly does it, and then he's like, oh, they're back.
Yeah.
So,
I
is
know.
that...
I don't know. The whole thing with Egwene feeling nothing where there were weaves of Higdon,
Yeah.
right? Maybe that is because they actually can't feel each other.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, there is some truth to that, too. She couldn't feel anything there.
And Rand then starts to channel, and they can't feel anything at all.
They can't feel anything, so the women can't feel Higdon.
Yeah.
We don't know how Rand perceived the whole, whatever you want to call it, weaves around Kalendor.
Yeah.
We never got that perspective, really.
No, we knew it was... Oh, how Rand got it. Or how Rand felt
we didn't really get a firm, description that I would say.
Yeah, we got nothing on that.
Yeah.
We just got that he was able to reach it.
And he got it.
And he got it.
Yeah.
That's it.
It was a very confusing time in his life, but...
It was a confusing time in my life, too.
Yeah, it was, but... But, I mean, that's something to... Like, I wish that they did a secondary test, like, oh, let's try that again, just to see if we can repeat the results.
Yeah.
But they don't.
They don't.
No time for that.
No, because then they tell Rand to channel... And he does, but they can't sense anything. And then he uses the air to pinch their butts.
Best butt... just
Egwene's?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Best butt pinch.
Yeah. And she doesn't think that's very mature or very funny.
It's hilarious, though.
But then there's a retaliation.
Yeah, a big one.
Yeah. So much that it makes him howl in pain and burns his butt off.
Well, from the writing,
he clamps his butt and runs around.
It sounds like a 100-to-1 situation is what she says.
Yeah.
So it's like, did Elaine do it that much harder?
I know, but you know what's funny?
Like just smacked him.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's funny is right now in the writing in this chapter, I thought it was Egwene.
Okay, yeah.
Who was retaliating.
Sure, yeah.
But in the next chapter, we get Elaine apologizing for what she did.
Well, we also get it here where Egwene looks back at Elaine who was just letting go of the source and gives her a sly wink or a nod or something like that.
Oh, so, okay. Yeah, I missed that. And I just thought it was Egwene.
Yeah.
Just getting him back.
So.
Yeah.
But I mean, before we move on, I gotta say one thing too. So we know Egwene and Elaine come in here to teach Rand or try to teach Rand about using the power.
Yeah.
But the first thing they do is they don't explain the basics of holding on to Higdon and actually channeling.
Yeah.
Because they got no time for that. But it's you came here to help and teach him stuff, but you're going to skip the basics. You should
probably start at the beginning.
Start at the beginning with everything that you know. He's like, here's what we know.
Yeah.
How does this compare with what you've experienced?
Well, they do that after.
Yeah. It's just so backwards.
Yeah, but they know, Rand knows how to get it already.
Yeah.
Right?
So, do we need to?
It's a little different.
It's a funny thought process.
Yeah. I don't think there is much of a thought process.
No. Yeah, that's fair too.
I think the entire plan was about how to get Rand in love with Elaine.
This is this is not the real...
This is the secondary...
The warm-up.
The warm-up. Here's how we get him trusting us.
Yeah.
And talking to us. Whatever. Let's wing it.
Yeah, let's go for it.
But then the other one is the really well thought out plan.
Yes.
So Rand gets all irritated about being told to, quote, do something.
Yeah, they're kind of talking over him.
Yeah.
But this is bad.
So he lifts them both up, with the air, and Egwene thinks about Joya and how she was able to cut her off from the source with spirit, and she wants to do the same to Rand to stop him.
Yeah, teach him a lesson.
Right. And this is where I want to stop for a second, because we had a few people reach out about last episode, I think, when we were talking about whether or not Amiko was stilled by accident or on purpose with her capture.
And who potentially did that, so...
Right.
Yeah. So that was Egwene that we saw in the dream world when Amiko was half in, half out.
Yes.
And Joya was all the way in the dream world in front of Kalendor.
Yes.
So the thing that was pointed out was that the descriptions of how Egwene did the shielding were a little bit different. And that does give us a little bit of hints as to what actually happened.
Right. So it was Egwene who stilled Amiko.
Yeah, so basically the theory, and we can't exactly confirm it at this point because we don't know enough about stilling.
But she must be so super powerful.
Yeah, but we also don't know how stilling actually works. But the description for Joya, when she was in front of Kalendor, Egwene just kind of did it.
Yeah.
But then when it was Amiko, she prepared the weave, she made it stronger, and then she made it sharp like a knife, and then slammed it down on Amiko as hard as she possibly could.
Oh. Yeah, that's
so
in
it's
the
like
writing.
The writing's there, the description is there. So if that's how stilling works, that would lend weight to the fact that Egwene was the one who stilled Amiko, which also
and on her own.
And also, like, when she was half in, half out of the dream world, so there could be, some explanation as to why Amiko was in that weird half and half situation, where she was, like, still there, but not really there, but couldn't do anything, so...
Yeah, because I think that I had assumed Amiko was stilled in her capture.
Yeah.
Like, that's the writing, right? So I thought maybe when Moraine went to go get her or whatever, and she was, like, basically being pulled... from halfway in the dream world, and like something weird
could have
happened to her.
Well, and even
after being shielded, and so I thought that maybe it was an accident that way. But a lot of people, I think it's
Well, it sounds like if it was Egwene, it was still definitely an accident.
Oh yeah,
because even in Egwene's recollection of it, she doesn't say, "Oh, I stilled Amiko." She says she was stilled in her capture. Yeah. So if Egwene did do it, and Moraine knows it, Moraine hasn't told Egwene, "You're the one who stilled her."
Right.
Because otherwise, Egwene's thought process would be like,
I stilled
Amiko during her capture, not she was stilled. So context is important too, and we don't know enough.
Right. I just thought we should talk about that here.
Yeah.
Because it makes the most sense.
Yeah. So anyways, she's trying to do that again.
Okay, but turns out she can't even reach the source because Rand has cut her and Elaine off from the power. And this is where he goes a little too far.
Just a little bit too far. Does some crazy stuff.
Yeah, makes the table legs move around, and he bursts a fire out in the fireplace and melts some gold and silver figurines and yells about how he is touching Higdon and he can feel the madness waiting for him.
Sounds totally normal and sane.
And then he lights the tables on fire and blows up the mattress and makes the books fly all around the room.
Yeah, all at the same time. It's all happening. So I'm just saying, like, this in a scene on TV, I hope it happens because it is great. Like, so much crazy stuff with Rand ranting and raving in the middle while the girls are basically, like, strung up and powerless.
Yeah.
I can understand why they'd be terrified.
Yeah.
So, it's great. I love it.
It's bad.
So Rand's doing good. He's doing great.
Yeah, so then it abruptly stops.
Yeah, he comes back to us. He doesn't go over the edge.
Yeah.
He comes back.
And let's say you're Elaine and you're in love with this guy.
Sure.
And you're minutes away from professing your love for him.
Well,
this doesn't change your mind?
He didn't, as they say, drown the kittens. So that helps, yeah.
Not yet.
Not yet. Oh, my God.
Okay. When it all stops, Egwene and Elaine immediately embrace Saidar, like as quickly as they can, in case that Rand just stilled them by accident.
Yeah, and
because now it's like a legitimate concern.
Well, yeah, and Egwene prepares a shield, but I got to ask you, like, we know how strong Rand is compared to Egwene from Egwene's own brain.
Yeah.
Would they have any shot of actually shielding Rand?
Maybe, yeah.
You think so?
I don't know if it has to do with power level at that point.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I think it's sort of like closing a door, or like
if you close the door first.
Yeah.
No, that's a good point. Yeah.
A door that he can't just like bust down. Like maybe that's not the best analogy, but it's all I can think of right now.
Well, I get it too. Like once the door is already closed.
It's like someone can't swim if there's no water in the pool.
Oh, nice. I like
that.
There we
go.
Okay.
So it's like
you just look so foolish.
Yeah, you're just like jumping around.
Yeah.
In a hole in the ground.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
But I mean, that's a good point. We don't know what counts for power.
Yeah.
Like we don't know how that works.
Like if there's no way, if she cuts off spirit or whatever it is. Then,
use a spirit to make a shield.
Yeah. If she like cuts it off, then he just like, because they can't even sense it.
Yeah.
When they're cut off.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I mean, that's a good point.
Okay. So Egwene cleans up the room a little bit. And Rand apologizes, saying that sometimes he can't even reach it at all, but sometimes it runs wild, and basically he has no control over it. But that's nothing new.
No, and that doesn't sound good either.
No,
Again,
this takes me back to the beginning of The Dragon Reborn, when he almost took down a mountain.
Right, on top of everybody.
Yeah. So he says that they should go, but Egwene says, no, we aren't done yet. And then she thinks about how crazy strong he is, and is shocked.
Yeah, I mean, and this was what I was saying, is like, they're told all the time they're the strongest Aes Sedai in like 1,000 years.
Yeah.
But Rand is the Dragon Reborn. And, like,
Yeah.
I know we don't really know what that means.
But, come on.
But for her to even think, like, oh, he's probably as strong as me, or you're as... Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah. She's big. She's got a big head.
Big head. Little bit. So
then they go to sit by the windows. And at this point, I stopped picturing, like, a bedroom. I don't know why. This whole time. I know that he's in, like, the king's chambers and stuff.
yeah, like, think of the fancy...
Yeah, I get it now.
Las Vegas suite floor.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking about how big this room was. I was thinking they were just in, like, a bedroom.
This
even
is
with Barrel Lane, like, all of it.
The king's chambers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's big.
Yeah.
I get it now. So they go over to sit by the windows in the armchairs, and there's a bunch of books over there, and I'm sure they're important.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you're going to talk to me about them.
Well, I'm going to read the titles, and then we can speculate, because we know that, one, Rand is reading a lot, and we know that, two, Moiraine doesn't like the fact that Rand is doing a bunch of reading,
yeah.
like independent research. And I just think, why not? Like, I'm glad that he's trying to educate himself. But besides the whole history of Tyr that we've seen him have, he has the first, which is volume 12 of the Treasures of the Stone of Tyr.
Okay.
So, Treasures of the Stone of Tyr.
Yeah.
We've heard about the Treasures of the Stone of Tyr so far.
Is that the stuff that can use the power?
Like the Great Holding?
Yeah.
So, probably in volume 12... I don't know how many volumes he's read through so far.
Well, it's a garbage pile of like 18 rooms. So
yeah. So second, he has Travels in the Aiel Waste with various observations on the savage inhabitants.
Oh, geez. Okay.
I mean, which also is good because he's got a bunch of Aiel around him now. So
wasn't it the guys that Matt was playing cards with who are calling the Aiel savages?
Everybody calls the Aiel savages.
Okay.
Everybody we've ever seen.
Yeah, but we just got that.
Yeah, well, we got that in the first 3 books too.
Okay, but...
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not new information.
It's new to me.
But at least he's trying to learn about the people.
If I don't remember it, it's new to me.
Oh, man, okay. And last, we've got Dealings with the Territory of Mayenne, 500 to 750 of the New Era.
Okay, so it sounds like he's learning about the Aiel because there's a bunch of them around him.
They're the people of the dragon.
And it sounds like he's decided to learn about Mayenne because... Freaking Barrel Lane.
Yeah.
Is around.
And also learning about the treasures that he owns now because he's basically the king of Tyr.
Cool.
Pretty good.
Well, he also has to, like, probably give permission to Moiraine to get them out of here, hey? As the Lord of Tyr, like, doesn't Rand...
Well, I mean, how big of a hammer do you wield, really? Like,
I bet if he said no, she wouldn't be allowed to take them.
That's a good conversation piece.
Yeah.
Do you think that he would / could order Moiraine not to do something?
I think he could, 100%.
Would she listen, or would she just find a way around it? And then also, secondary question, if Moiraine decides to, like, disobey Rand, we know that Lan and Rand have this kind of, like, unique bond now.
Yeah.
But he's also tied to Nynaeve and also to Moiraine, so, it's a big jumble of emotions for Lan.
But
Poor
you just said... He's the lord of it, of that stuff, that they're about to ship 10 boatloads to Tarvalin.
Sounds like Moraine's already doing that.
Yeah, I know, but
I
think that she probably would have had to, like, okay it with Rand.
Interesting. So maybe there's something there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think there's actually anything there, but it's an interesting
point. Good to speculate.
Yeah.
Never know.
Yeah. So now they want to talk about how he embraces the source, and he tells them about the flame and void, and... how Tam used it, and how Lan uses it, and how some girl called it the oneness.
Not some girl.
No, I'm aware.
Oh, yeah.
That's what he says to them.
Well, he says Celine.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, Celine, someone I met once.
Oh, yeah.
But this is the thing.
That's some girl.
Does Rand know that Celine was Lanfear?
Nope. No, he does not.
Nobody's met... Like, does anybody here know that?
No, because nobody has connected it, I don't think.
We know that, well, yeah, the name's Celine, right?
Yeah.
Like, does anybody... I don't think anybody knows.
And he probably hasn't really talked about it.
Like, they've all met.
Because he was with Varen for so long.
Yeah, yeah.
In that whole scenario,
and
Moiraine wasn't there.
We know that they know Lanfear's in the picture, but we don't... Like, I don't think there's a connection where they know that Lanfear is the woman in white who is Celine.
Yeah,
like,
I don't think so.
That's trouble. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just had to double check that we don't know that anybody else knows.
Yeah, I really don't think so.
Like, nobody's talked about that yet.
No.
So.
Nope. No one. I think the only one who's figured out who Lanfear is Perrin.
I was going to
like
say
on
that.
his own, like because of dreams.
Yeah, and he's like, oh shit, that's Lanfear.
Yeah.
Because Hopper brought him there.
Yeah.
But does he know who Celine? I don't think Perrin talked to Rand about
Celine.
Celine.
No, it was Huron and Loyal.
Maybe in the mountains, actually.
Doubt it.
No, they for sure talked about all their experiences when they were in the mountains for the
No,
the winter,
I know,
right?
but Perrin doesn't get the visions of Lanfear till after.
Oh, right, yeah. Shoot. All right, nobody knows. There you go. Answered it.
So Egwene says, that sounds just like what we do.
Yeah.
And I agree. That's what I've been saying this whole time.
Kind of, sort of, yeah.
I think it's the same.
Same, but different. Elaine doesn't agree. She's like, oh, no emotion. That sounds terrible.
Yeah.
That's totally different.
No, I think it sounds the same.
Okay.
With different words.
But the second part is what's totally different.
Right. So she says that you have to surrender control to the power, and that's how you get control of it.
Yes.
And that was the hardest part for her to learn, because that's a really difficult thing to do, is surrender to it when you think it's going to take over.
Yeah.
Or whatever, right? And he says, like, no way, it's nothing like that.
He's like already shaking his head.
It takes everything he has not to be swallowed by the source, basically. And because if he surrendered to it, it would consume him.
Even for a minute. So.
But I think.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part to learn. That's what Egwene says she had trouble with.
So, but this is the issue, though. Nynaeve has issues with surrendering the control. She cannot embrace unless she's super pissed off. Rand doesn't seem to have the same mental block where he needs to be angry to embrace Saidin.
No, it has nothing to do with that.
Okay.
I think he's saying, no way, that would never work. I can't surrender to it. But he also has no real control over it. And so maybe he thinks it would consume him, and that's
but maybe that's the secret.
Issue.
Okay.
Yeah, because Egwene thinks that was the hardest part for her.
Yeah.
Because it's scary to surrender to something so powerful.
Yeah, and we don't really know why Rand can't always embrace Saidin.
No, we don't know that.
So
that's the part I'm not really talking about.
Okay.
Just when he does get it.
Yeah.
If he surrenders to it, maybe he'd have better control, and it wouldn't just like erupt out of him, causing crazy scenes. Right?
Yeah,
like he'd have better control over what he does and then what he doesn't do when it's embraced, right?
That's a good theory.
It's a theory. I don't think it's right.
Oh, you don't?
Not really.
Okay.
But it's the only thing I can think of right now. That that's how maybe he's
they
wrong.
are just different, though.
Yeah, maybe they are different, but I don't want to believe that.
Really?
Oh,
why
what do
not?
you mean, really?
Well, why not? Why do you not
about.
want them to be different? Everything that we've heard so far is they're different. Even at the end of this chapter, Egwene's like, yeah, they're super different.
Well, she doesn't
for this
know.
Gigantic reason that the way, the how behind it is totally different.
I don't know. I don't want them to be that different.
Okay.
Because I want him to learn.
Sure.
Otherwise, they have to go...
No. I'm going to correct you there. You don't want Rand to learn. You want to be right, and you want Egwene to teach Rand how to do it.
Yeah. I have said in the past...
Sure.
Let me just remind you.
Okay.
That Logain is going to come into this somewhere. He's still milling about all depressed in the tower.
Oh, right. Okay. But that wasn't as formulated of a thought, I don't think.
No, it was just like they were going to get together. Egwene's going to somehow make it so that they can't go crazy.
But how did Logain learn how to do stuff, and how would he be a better teacher than just Rand teaching himself?
Experience.
Does he have more experience?
No. But they could chat about their non-experience together and figure it out together. They could
talk, share minds.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about that other guy? Who can
Nazrim Taim?
That guy.
That guy. That's the guy who's supposed to be using an evil, dark-friendly plot by Leandrin.
Yeah. Let's twist it around. Make him Rand's ally. Helps Rand.
Nice. Okay.
He's gonna be his Robin.
Like Batman to Robin?
Yeah, his helpful guy.
Taim is gonna be the Robin to
Rand's Batman.
In what world is that gonna be?
They all help each other. How else is he gonna learn? The only other thing
How would they become allies? Like, I'm trying to... How would that...
I don't know. And you know what I was a little bit disappointed about?
Sure,
when we got the heroes? Well, because a really long time ago...
Okay.
I said that...
Oh,
when
right.
we blew the horn...
The horn, yeah.
We were going to get heroes from the past coming back.
One of them was going to, like, stay in true to Rand. 2 nights a week for 3 to 4 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because I'm sure some of the old heroes could
probably
channel
someone's a channeler
and could help Rand.
be like, hey,
but
man.
I specifically said Luz Theron was gonna help Rand somehow.
Right, but he wasn't in.
But he wasn't there because it turns out Rand's Luz Theron.
Well, yeah, he's the Dragon Reborn.
He's
Luz Theron Reborn.
Yeah, so it didn't really pan out.
Okay.
But we got some books still to read.
Need a fax machine from the future.
Whoa.
Luz Theron can fax Rand.
All right, let's move on. So, yeah, interesting conversation.
Okay.
Moving
Stuff to
on.
speculate about.
Back to this, though, because the girls go on questioning him about the 5 flows.
Yes.
So water, fire, etc. He doesn't know how he does anything. Turns out he just does them.
But he's pretty good with fire.
Especially with fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially with extinguishing fire.
I mean, that's an example.
Which is a big deal to these girls. Because he takes the heat from the fire and spreads it around in the stone fireplace. And that shocks Egwene and Elaine.
Because the way they do it is totally different.
The flame has to be put out with air or water. You're never supposed to take heat in.
Because that'll basically kill you. That'll explode yourself.
Yeah, you can't get rid of it. And they'll burst into flames.
So, I mean, but that's the big thing.
But Elaine apparently experienced this firsthand and, burned herself.
Yeah, so, I mean, we didn't get all stories of their lessons, but that's, the biggest difference that they know of an example of how to explain how to do something.
Yeah.
Rand doesn't know how to do a bunch of stuff, but that's why we're also kind of led in the direction that the
It's
powers,
different.
they are different, and there just are different things.
Yeah, and Egwene notes here that there's clearly a difference, but she's definitely not ready to give up.
Yeah.
Which I like.
Maybe there are some more similarities that they're going to uncover, too. We don't know that there aren't. They spent an hour, they said, but,
Yeah.
And, I mean, I just got to point this out. Sure, Maureen might be right about the whole you can't teach someone how to do it differently, but if they knew the correct method, if they knew the philosophy, maybe they'd have some success.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, so now Egwene is ready to tell him something. The real reason that these women came to see him. And, this whole conversation actually surprised me.
It's big news.
At the, communication level.
Okay.
Because when Rand and Egwene communicated on their journey the first time...
Yeah, they kind of talked past each other.
It wasn't good.
Yeah.
They would just end up screaming at each other, and one would storm away.
Yeah.
So, this is better.
Hey.
It's not good.
It's more... Well, okay, yeah.
It's medium.
That's a good way to summarize.
It's medium communication. Because it is just Egwene talking over him, talking at him.
And then not believing when he repeats.
And then not really listening to anything he says.
Oh, he's putting on such a brave face. Yeah. It's no, he's telling you.
So she tells him she cannot marry him, and he says, I know. And she's like, no. This doesn't have to do with channeling. I don't love you.
I mean, that's the... Ooh.
Okay.
Good opening line.
You don't love me? And he says, well, this is actually kind of good, because I don't want to marry you either. But she thinks he's just, saving face.
Yeah.
Nope.
It's so... Yeah.
And then she just, kisses his cheek and says he will find someone else, and then leaves abruptly, leaving Elaine in the room with him.
Okay, bye.
And I thought, oh my god, this is their plan.
This is the plan. I mean, it doesn't not work.
No, it works.
So, yeah,
it
works.
It totally works. So, she thinks Elaine will be able to pick him up like a lost puppy, and she thinks to herself now about how maybe she won't be able to teach him, the whole fish and birds crap.
Yeah.
But she's not giving up, and something has to be done, so a way has to be found.
Hey,
and that's just what I think excellent, good. So
good
maybe
mentality.
It won't be her personally who can teach him, but it's going to be her who figures this shit out for Rand.
Now you're just hedging your bets.
No, that's what I've been saying this whole time. I've been saying it. So then we head into chapter 8 called Hard Heads, which is funny, and we get the dragon picture.
We do. Another occurrence of it.
Yeah, and we start off in Elaine's point of view, and I just think nice. I thought that was going to be it. I didn't think we were actually going to get this scene.
But it's we get that continuation.
We get this scene, and it's so good.
It's so good. So it starts off from Elaine's perspective, and right after Egwene makes her exit, and she is nervous. She's got butterflies the size of hedgehogs frolicking in her stomach. And Elaine isn't afraid of Rand because she's making the choice to not be afraid of him.
Trust him.
Yeah.
And it turns out this was the plan all along.
Good plan.
Yeah.
Kind of. So Rand hasn't even really noticed that Elaine is still there.
Yeah.
Because Egwene just left and, it's all very confusing for him. But then he suddenly notices that she is here and he starts to panic.
Yeah. He's like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Why is she still here? What's happening?
Yeah, and he can barely even form a coherent sentence right now. And they have some fun banter with being super formal with their titles.
Yeah, don't you call me...
Don't call me that or I'll call you this. And
yeah.
back and forth. It's kind of like the first crush that you've ever had.
Sure.
And you're in the same room by yourselves. So,
I'd say it's more than that.
Is it?
First crush is way too young.
I mean, hey, do you think Rand's ever, besides Egwene?
No, but I think this is more flirtatious.
This
is like first date, not first crush.
Entry-level flirtation here. It's not that good.
No, I know, but it's like first date, I'd say.
Okay. It's pretty bad flirting.
It's bad.
It's bad.
But it's not... Okay. Go on.
So Elaine's going to start digging here to find out some important details, and the first really important question she has to figure out is Egwene going to be a problem still?
Right. But Rand realizes that even though he doesn't love Egwene, and it's fair for her not to love him, it was still a shock, and that's probably why Egwene didn't believe him.
Yeah, something like that.
So he's trying to figure out what her reaction to him saying no, it's cool was.
He's a confused potato.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, I mean, Elaine seems to believe that Rand doesn't love Egwene still, so, because she's like, oh, I'm not going to have to deal with that.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Because she would.
She would deal with it from what it sounds like.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
I know.
Or what, but hey. And then Rand does something super adorable, and he tries to make her a flower out of the pillow feathers that he blew up.
This is so sweet, though.
While he held her captive, he blew up a bunch of stuff, and now he's trying to make her something pretty out of that stuff.
Yeah, it's only a medium sweet because apparently he also did this for someone else yesterday.
The Majir. Yeah, it's like the head cleaning lady. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But he also tries to cover up for himself because it's like, oh, but yours is going to be much prettier than hers.
Yeah, and she looks kind of nervous, and he's like, it's only a little bit of the power.
Yeah,
I promise.
I can do it. You got to trust me still.
Yeah, but then he fails.
He does. He doesn't do it, and that's so sad.
And then he's trying to cover up for failing and to give her some cloth to make a dress or something.
So when he was melting the animal heads, he was pulling the silver and gold, and he wove a material. Yeah.
Fabric.
So now he's oh, take this and make something out of it then. And it's all terrible. It's so weird.
So awkward.
And then Elaine has to scoop up the feathers.
No, she doesn't have to.
She chooses to.
She chooses to keep the feathers because he meant them to be a
flower. It was
for
supposed
her.
to be romantic. It's all kind of weird. It's an unusual exchange, and they're both very nervous people.
Yeah.
In a nerve-wracking situation.
Yeah. So awkward.
And I gotta say that the next part doesn't get any better.
No.
Because again, it's lacking in the communication because they can't say what they want.
I like you. And he's
you.
I like you too. And she's like, I'm fond of you. More than fond.
Yeah, I like you. Do you like me or just like me?
Yes, no, or maybe.
Yes.
Check the box.
See, but you never put no. You just say yes or maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Yeah.
And she's not usually so forward.
Right.
I mean, there's this whole weird dynamic, too, where Elaine
she also has Bear Elaine in the back of her head.
The entire time.
Yeah.
She can't stop, competing. It's a weird,
because
is it
she
jealousy?
doesn't know what happened.
She doesn't, and it was last night.
Yeah.
So it's still very recent.
Yeah. But she tells Rand to kiss her.
She does. That's the next most important card.
Very forward.
She's playing the hussy card, I gotta say. Yeah.
Oh,
for her to just go out there and say it?
Yeah.
Wow.
But he says, I can't kiss you. We're not betrothed.
Well, and he's launching into his whole speech.
Yeah.
That's how they do it in Two Rivers, maybe? I don't know.
Oh, yes.
But also sort of, because we've also heard of other Two Rivers boys who go and kiss the girls. But it's just, Rand's values here, so.
Sure.
But luckily Elaine is prepared for this. Because she's like, oh, I don't know how they do things in Two Rivers, but in, Camelin, you don't have to marry. Yeah, you can just make out a little bit. Yeah. So we don't have to get married immediately afterwards.
But maybe you don't know how.
Good one. Works every time.
There
you go. Okay. So some time passes.
Yeah, I just wrote, whoa. That's a good kiss.
Yeah, he like scoops her up. So,
oh yeah.
Hey, she's into it. He's into it. It's all good. Everyone's happy.
Yeah, and then she's like, "Oh my God, who am I asking for a kiss?"
Oh
like
my goodness.
Barrel Lane.
It's like, why are we bringing her up?
Yeah.
I have a question for you. After last night, do you think that Barrel Lane has any romantic intentions?
0.
For Rand? Is she coming back in the picture for Rand?
Oh no.
Is Elaine gonna have to compete with Barrel Lane at all?
No.
Not happening?
Oh no.
She's done.
Yeah.
Okay.
She is scared.
I mean, Rand's reading a book about how to deal with Mayenne.
Yeah, not how to deal with romantic advances from the first
It's
of
more like
Mayenne.
the political side of things, probably? Okay,
yeah, it's like the history of Tyr and Mayenne or something like that. Like, it's not... No.
Well, I mean, and
I think maybe if Barreling didn't witness
that maybe she'd
and all
still...
the power and channeling and Rand almost dying and
Yeah.
her being, like, held captive in a mime box.
Right, yeah.
Like,
there's a lot of, things that would make her go the other way.
She, like, hustled out of there.
Yeah. Okay, so probably not.
No.
And, by the way, this kiss was so good that all the sapphires in Elaine's hair
are all messed up.
They're all messed up. It's like, you got, I don't know, is that make-out hair?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
He wants to know if Elaine and Egwene schemed this all up. And then he thinks, nah. Of course, girls don't do that.
What? So, yeah. But I mean, she's got some plans. Besides the fact that she like wants to, make an impression, she also tells him like, I'm going to be gone for a couple months.
But I want you to think of me.
She's got to leave an impression.
Yeah.
So I mean, she did a good job so far. It's going well.
Yeah. And then this is the part where I say, "Oh, she did the retaliation."
Yeah, because it's the whole exchange of like,
because she soothes his bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for being honest. So good job. But yeah, so Rand isn't sorry about the butt pinch either. I mean, and he's got a point because they were kind of talking over him.
Yeah, he's just being a little cheeky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we get Gaul knocking on the door and he pokes his head in, keeps his head down so he doesn't see anything that he's not supposed to see. Mm-hmm. But the High Lords are back, so it's time for Elaine to skedaddle.
Which she does, and he like reaches for her and she does like the slip away.
Yeah, that's good. What do you think? Like, was he going for like a secondary kiss or like stick with me with the High Lords?
Maybe just like a hand squeeze.
Okay.
Like a come back.
Sure.
Like
hey, after the High Lords are gone,
this isn't over. That's how I saw it.
Yeah, I like that. That works.
Yeah.
Well, and also we get her entire like finality of the plan is she's got 4 days left and she plans to like twine herself around Rand.
Cool.
For the
How's
next
she gonna
4 days.
Do that?
Well, it's not gonna be hard. One of those midnight visits. Yeah. Okay. So call it right now. What's happening in the next 4 days?
Well, you said it's not gonna be hard, and I disagree.
Oh, really? To like get Rand alone or what? What are you talking about?
Hard.
Oh, hard heads. I get it.
You're gonna make me say it.
Terrible.
It's sexual.
Nah.
It's a sexual joke.
Yeah, it is. Okay. Okay, before we move on to the next perspective, one thing I gotta point out.
She says her mother will just have to accept this.
Well, yeah.
That part? Oh,
No, not that part. I don't care about that part.
Oh. Okay. I thought that would be a big deal. Because,
is that a big deal?
Because if her mother doesn't accept it, I think that'll be a big problem.
Okay.
But,
well, besides the fact of like what's going on with Morgaze right now.
No, besides that fact. Just like normally.
Just in general?
Yeah.
Okay, so if like mom doesn't approve, bad news bears?
Yeah.
Okay. So the other thing is that as Elaine is leaving, she notices how Rand is acting towards the High Lords because they kind of do this crossover and the High Lords are in.
Oh, I know what you're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she like is reminded of like Gareth Bryn in the fact that he is a guy who can dominate the room even amongst the nobles, and Rand is becoming that person. Yeah. And it's just this big difference in perspective of Rand from Egwene when she was like, oh, you're the ruler of Tyr now? Yeah. And she's like, oh, doesn't like that about Rand, but Elaine thinks it's a good quality that Rand is dominating this room of High Lords. So it's like a very different, upbringing, whatever you want to call it.
Right. So then we get, boom, scene change, and we stick with Rand in his chamber.
Yeah, so this is a really good perspective change with Rand and a good viewpoint because we get to kind of see a glimpse of what he's been dealing with and why he's so stressed out.
Yeah.
Like, this is a good glimpse.
Yes, I like this.
And also, besides the fact that he's gotten so good at ruling and dealing with these guys, he's doing it on autopilot while he's thinking about the kiss he just had and how confused he is.
Oh, he's so confused.
Yeah, but it's like what's running in the back of his brain while he's discussing
I know,
politics.
women.
So complex. Yeah. So we get a bit of an introduction to a few more of the High Lords. So starting with Sunamon, and they're basically all on edge right now because of what happened this morning. That word has spread with Rand physically throwing Torian out on his butt.
Yeah.
So that seems like a good bargaining position to move into for Rand. Like, they're already on edge. That's good.
I'd say so.
Yeah. And this is what I was talking about. So this is where we get that reference with Torian and his filthy suggestions.
Ooh, yeah, I definitely didn't read, or I read it, obviously, but...
Yeah. But it's just like that little hint of why he's so pissed off at Torian. And Torian was the guy who, like, grabbed Barrelane and she brushed off because she didn't like him. And that was last night after Barrelane had left the chamber.
Right, okay.
So maybe there was something about that.
Yeah, I do think there's still something up with that, but...
It's still weird, but yeah.
It might be one of those things that I actually never find out.
It is, because I gotta say, like, there's a lot of things in this book that you might never find out about.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there's no way to know until you don't find out about it.
Yeah. Okay.
But then also, like, setting the scene here, just keep in mind that once again, everything in Rand's room is completely destroyed.
Yeah. Huh.
So all these High Lords walk in and his room is torn apart.
Yeah.
Like, everything is destroyed. Terrible.
I like how Rand thinks about how his dreams are coming true.
Yeah.
With Elaine.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of it. So
Yeah.
step one. Yeah, there's a lot of steps here, but...
Yeah.
We get a nice little mention about Tom's work is at play here.
Ooh.
Did you pick up on that with his note?
Yep.
You didn't at all. Okay.
Totally. That's something I totally took note of.
Okay, so he notices, and only because Tom slipped a note in Rand's pocket to keep an eye out on Carleon and Tadosian, but Carleon and Tadosian are not even looking at each other anymore. So in the High Lords meetings,
and
those are the two guys with the Lady Altima who Tom wrote that fake note about
your
the
husband
affair.
Knows or
Exactly.
whatever. Yeah,
so that's that
your
affair.
Your husband suspects.
So there's some progress with that, whatever Tom's doing for here, and he told Rand about it to keep an eye out on it.
Good job.
So
go Tom.
Good on Tom. There you go. And then we get to like the whole crux of this entire thing why the High Lords are here. Taxes.
Uh-huh. I like how he's having this important conversation while he thinks about Elaine and Egwene. I think that's hilarious.
Yeah, it's all in the background too.
Yeah.
So like I like the upfront stuff where we're talking about taxes and what Rand wants to do.
I like everything that's going on in his head.
So the whole lowering taxes thing, the High Lords don't like it because if you lower the taxes on the peasants, then they're going to be mad when you try and raise them again.
Well.
Yeah.
Shoot. Don't you think they're just going to be mad now when they're taxed on nothing?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a big point. So Rand's entire background is being a farmer. He gets it more than these High Lords probably do.
Oh, 100%. And I love how Rand's, like, Two Rivers experience is coming into play here.
Yeah, very much so. He's like, hey, if you drive people off their farms, you're really going to have riots. When people can't feed their families, then they're going to burn your shit down. So... And then we get some High Lord counterpoints where, hey, we got soldiers to put down the riot, so it's not a big deal. And then we move into the grain conversation.
But you're skipping all the good stuff.
Yeah, no, it's, the good stuff depends on how you define that, so.
Well, I think it's funny when I like all the in-between stuff. And Rand is thinking about how it's foolish to feel hurt because Egwene no longer loves him, even though he no longer loves her. Like, why should he expect her to still have feelings for him? I just like all that stuff. Because that's the stuff that's important to me. Not dumb taxes and Tyr.
Well, they're both important.
Their relationship is important to me. I've been invested in it for a long time now.
Yeah, I guess so.
And it's finally coming to a close. And now we get Rand's perspective on it. And he thinks it's a relief, but not a pleasant one. Like, she still means something to him.
Yeah, just not in a romantic kind of way.
Yeah.
So it's good. He's moving on, and hopefully we never have to hear about Rand and Egwene again.
That's interesting, because I don't think we are going to have to.
Like, romantically?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's what should happen, right?
Yes. So why are you saying it like that? Is it going to happen?
what, he's going to backpedal on all of his thoughts and feelings, or what? Or she's going to backpedal?
No.
I can't imagine
No.
Egwene would, like...
It just you sound so sarcastic.
No, I'm being serious. Like,
No.
I've wanted Egwene and Rand to be done like 3 books ago when they left Two Rivers.
Oh, yes.
And they're like, I don't want to be with you anymore. And
Yeah.
they both agreed. And then it's 4 books later.
Sorry if I sounded sarcastic.
I can't even tell what's real anymore.
Okay.
But anyways, so now can we talk about the whole farmers and the High Lords and how terrible they are?
Sure. Do you want to talk more about the books?
No, those are the same books we already heard.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought they were different ones.
they're the exact same books.
Okay.
We talked about them
mind.
last chapter. That's okay. Okay, so now we're going to talk about how terrible the High Lord's counterpoints are.
Right. So there's one asshole who says there's too many farmers anyway. Can't they just kill each other off?
So yeah, but this is how crazy they are and so like disconnected, because they don't have anyone to sell their extra grain to because Kyrian is in civil war and Tyr always sells their grain to Kyrian.
Right. They're like, ugh, why are those farmers putting so much seed in the soil?
Yeah. So it's like 3
Idiots.
years from now we can't sell it for 3 more years, so let's just stop planning and then boom.
We're gonna have to burn it all.
Yeah, and Rand the farmer is like, are you kidding me?
Yeah,
you don't
idiot.
stop planting food because that's how you don't die.
Yeah.
But then he kind of brings up these, counterpoints like, hey, instead of selling it to Kyrian, let's sell it to Ilian, right? Or somebody else, Altara, like literally anyone you can find, give them the grain, sell it to them. So, but they don't like that because they're High Lords and they don't like anybody else and they want to do things the way they've always done it.
Right. You're also skipping over his thoughts about why had Elaine spoken up? What did she mean by fond? Does she love me? No, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot of confusing words.
Yeah.
She just made out with me for probably 15 to 35 minutes. Does she like me? No, can't be that.
I don't think they made out that long.
It was like definitely 2 to 3 hours.
Well,
I don't
her
know.
hair was all messed up.
Well, okay. Just kissing. That's it.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah.
making out.
Yeah, like hard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hands in the hair.
All
making
over
out.
the place.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we also have an important note about how Rand likes Min as much as he likes Elaine.
But that makes him more confused.
Oh, yeah, way more confused. But I think that this is a foreshadow for the whole marrying both of them.
Oh, yeah, because Min said it, and therefore it must be true. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But we also still don't understand the whole timelines of that.
No, I don't know what that is going to be like.
Yeah.
Like, who's he going to marry first? And then who's going to be, like, the sister wife coming into the already established marriage?
And then who's, like, last to the
Yeah, and then who's
party?
even... Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Or is it like a 1, 2, 3 all separate entities?
Right.
Okay. But I mean, more importantly, Rand needs to focus. He needs to get his head on straight because if he doesn't, these High Lords are going to, like, take him.
Right.
So it's not good. He's got to focus in.
He's got to focus. Before he does that, he thinks, what do I feel for her? Dreaming about her. Ugh, she certainly is pretty.
Oh, my goodness.
But he doesn't know who he's thinking of.
Oh, man. Okay.
Min or Elaine.
Yeah.
And then he puts the women firmly out of his head, and he talks about trading with other nations for stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, I get his frustration, and this is why it is important, because he has been dealing with these High Lords for a little while now, and they clearly don't listen and don't learn and don't want to do things his way.
No, and it says he's tried to reason with them, and it has always failed, so then he just has to command.
So he's going to start, like, snapping, basically, probably. Pretty soon,
yeah.
if not already, so...
Well, he tries to be like, how about this? And they're like, no.
We don't do it that
we
way.
We can't trade with Ilian. Those guys are awful.
Yeah, they're the worst.
They're the worst.
So, but his new plan, he's going to cut taxes by 3/4 on the farmers, by half on everybody else, and then ask Barrelane for help.
Yeah.
So, and that usually doesn't happen either. Mm-hmm. Tyr usually bullies man, and he wants to, like, form an allegiance. So
treaty.
A treaty
is the word he uses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Use their words.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I found that stuff all pretty boring and kind of useless, and the relationship stuff was way better.
Okay.
But then we get a scene change.
We do to Egwene.
To Egwene, yeah.
Yeah.
Full circle.
Just left, and now she is going to come across Matt, who falls in line with her.
Well, it seems like Matt comes across her.
Well, yeah. And
I wonder if he, in any way, was going to Rand. because she just left Rand's room.
Okay, and Matt could have been up like all night gambling with Tom, maybe. So
Not gambling, but yeah.
Playing stones, whatever you want to
Yeah.
call it. So yeah, like there's a potential where
If
he
he
could have
was
been.
like, maybe I'll go see him, and then he's just like, nah.
And then he sees Egwene and goes after her. So
Yeah.
so anyways, their paths cross, and he's acting a little bit weird, a little bit unusual, and she notices.
Yeah. You know what else she notices? A plump maid wink at him.
Oh yeah, and she's like way too judgmental of Matt's
Oh
decisions.
yeah,
So
but
it's
of course,
so terrible.
Egwene is the most judgmental.
Yeah.
Next to Nynaeve. They're both judgmental.
It's funny because we get a little bit of insight into what Matt's been doing, keeping busy. He's been
Keeping
avoiding.
busy with the ladies.
He's avoiding the girls, and he's gambling, he's dicing, and hooking up with the plump maids.
Going and spending some time
Yeah,
with
hey.
the ladies.
Okay.
Although I do find it interesting that there was a specific mention of him never seeing the inside of a woman's chambers.
Okay.
And then there's all this talk about him like hooking up with chicks. I think that maybe he's just like making out with them in the kitchens. I don't know if he's actually, this is my whole thing about
Well,
him.
it's the whole like dressing room or like locker room comparative to like,
You think he's just doing it in like a maid locker room?
in a hallway? Maybe. I don't know what Matt does.
I don't think so.
You think
He
just
specifically said, even the Dark Lord wouldn't. No, that's what the Dark Ones say.
the Dark One?
Even the Dark
And
One
the
wouldn't
dark
let me
friends
forget
Call him
about
the Great
that.
Lord. You got to get your terminology.
That's
Dark
Harry
Lord's
Potter.
Harry Potter.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
And you said it.
you said it.
But you know what? We do have to take a shot to cheers the new year.
Okay, usher in some good luck for 2021.
Yes.
It
would be
2020
wrong
can
to
go
not...
right to hell.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay, fine. I said.
you said the word.
And if you can take a shot for randomly quoting a Harry Potter movie,
That was on purpose, and yours was by accident.
so that makes mine better.
Okay, go get him.
Okay, so I chose 2 shot glasses that we got in the year 2020.
Hey, nice. Okay.
So mine is from the Royal Tyrrell Museum.
Yep.
In Drumheller.
That's the dinosaur place in Alberta. It's
Yes,
super cool.
and we were there in the summer.
Yeah.
And picked this weapon of a shot glass up.
Yeah, it's gigantic.
It's a big, heavy one, but it's great.
Yeah, and mine was one of our gifts.
Yes.
And it's of the Firefly Distillery from South Carolina, which is also a big shot glass.
Yeah.
So love them.
Love them.
All right, cheers to 2020 being gone from our lives.
To 2021, to success and nothing less.
Ah, there you go.
Oh.
That's caramel whiskey.
It was so good.
It was really good.
But it's just the whiskey after. The
Can I
caramel.
take a shot of just caramel?
It's salted caramel whiskey, actually.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's really tasty. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Matt, in my opinion, still has not done the deed.
Really? Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
Because not even the Dark One would have him forget that.
Okay.
I mean, I guess he has a room.
Hmm?
Women could go to his room.
True.
All right.
True.
Okay, moving on.
Okay. No time for that now.
Yeah, because he's been avoiding Egwene and Nynaeve because they tied him up and went through his room.
Yeah, so we got to talk about this.
Uh-huh.
And this is like a questionable maneuver here. So Matt still had the Amerlin note. Apparently, they asked for it back. He didn't give it for whatever reason.
He remembers it a little differently.
He does. There's like contested stories here. But Nynaeve and Egwene came into his room, tied him up with the power, and searched his room, and then took back the note.
Friends don't steal from friends.
So fair. But like, remember how like indignant she was when Rand just did that to her? Like, don't you tie me up with the power?
Oh, yeah.
A little bit different scenario, but for them to bust into Matt's room
I know. Well, at first, I thought he was talking about when he saved them.
Oh, yeah,
and
okay.
they tied him up.
Well, they didn't do anything with him at that point. I don't think they did. Maybe they lifted him up off his
They
feet.
lifted him up.
Yeah.
They lifted him up.
Yeah, okay.
And
I
he
think
didn't like that. I don't think he was tied up.
So this is like way worse, where they
Yeah.
just like,
bound him.
bound him up for a little while they could search for the note. So We don't really know exactly when went down there, but...
No, and Egwene's saying, it was always alone.
Yeah.
No.
It's a very murky story.
I don't remember it that way. I don't remember you giving that note as alone and expecting it back.
Yeah.
I get why you want it back now.
I do.
Because Moiraine knows about it.
But there's like a more tactful way to go about this. It's just, yeah.
I also think that this is how Moiraine knows about the notes.
Oh,
because remember how last time we were talking about how Moiraine somehow knows that they have these notes?
She's like, those notes aren't going to be as useful against me, so...
Yeah, I think that she found out that Matt has one.
Maybe Matt was bitching about it?
Maybe. Something happened, and they
Moiraine
had to go in to get it back from him.
Love it, okay.
Yeah.
So Matt goes on like a big, long ramble about not really saying anything. So this is the issue.
Yeah, he needs some advice, but he doesn't know what about or what to do. And,
yeah, he doesn't really have a clear motive, and he doesn't know what he wants from her.
Yeah.
So how's she going to help?
Yeah.
And he's rambling, and he rambles about the holes in his memory.
The more, like, the old tongue reference.
Yeah.
And thinking about how...
Like, he can speak it, but...
It must be about the holes in his memory.
It's like, what's going on? So, and he still doesn't really know what he's asking for help with.
Yeah. Then she offers up something... that I don't think she has the right to offer up.
Yeah, so this is a very... Oh, man, it's so weird. It's super lucky, I would say, of Matt. Someone who needs answers.
Yeah.
To, answer the questions that he has about his life right now. And she, being a person who, knows about this thing that you can, walk into and get
Matt,
answers.
And Matt, being a little bit of a sneaky scoundrel and not following rules or paying attention to rules.
It's so murky. Oh, man, okay.
Is Matt gonna die here?
He's done. Book 4 gone.
Oh, my God.
Okay, so what happens? Egwene tells Matt about the doorway to Rangriel that apparently gives you answers to questions that you ask. We don't really know anything else about this doorway besides, you go through it.
Yeah.
And then something.
Yeah, Monsters, Inc. Doorway.
Right, you said Monsters, Inc. doorway.
Yeah.
You get answers. She tells him the rules and the consequences, and I'm sure Matt was listening.
No, he thinks it's hilarious, like it's some story, like some fable.
Yeah.
He doesn't...
Which, I mean, is fair.
It.
But he also is like, I'm going to stay away from it completely. You don't have to tell me twice.
Nope.
Okay.
He says he won't go near it unless his life depends on it.
That's at the very end. Okay, you're skipping.
Sorry,
you're jumping
but
here.
He says he won't go near it, and then he says, unless...
So she says, promise that you're not going to go until you get Maureen's permission.
Yes.
And he says, I'm not going anywhere near it.
Nope.
But he doesn't not promise.
Nope.
And he doesn't promise.
Nuh-uh, he's going near it.
And then she makes him say it. And that's when he says...
Yeah, he goes near it.
He's not going to go near it unless it's his life, so...
Yeah, we also get a reference to another girl.
We do, like a slimmer one, not a plump one.
I mean, that part doesn't matter at all. But he just says
it doesn't. But it's a notable thing.
He just says it because it doesn't matter what they look like. Turns out it's just if they're interested in him.
Yeah,
that's what
half
he
the
cares
battle,
about.
Right?
And he says he'll find something to do, and I say or someone.
Yeah, and Egwene's being super judgmental again.
Yeah.
Matt does ask her an important question, too. He asks Egwene, do you wish we could go back to the before time when none of this happened? Do you wish none of this happened? And it's a no for both of them. But, I mean, that's fair, too.
Yeah.
Do you think any of the main
Someone
crew...
should tell Nynaeve that they like that this has happened. Because Nynaeve is still set on revenge on Moiraine for dragging everyone out of their happy farmer lives.
Yeah. Matt milking his dad's cows.
Yeah.
Egwene being...
The only one who wants to go back is Perrin.
I was going to ask, does anybody want to go back?
He just wants to go forging. That's all he cares about.
Yeah.
He just wants to go back to the smithy.
Well,
be a blacksmith.
He got a little taste of it, so...
Yeah, that's the problem.
He should start his own forge.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we end with Matt promising, not promising...
Yeah.
To not go through the doorway for sure.
Go through
to not, unless his life totally depends on it.
Which it might.
So, but that's the question. So now if
that's what he figures or he thinks.
Yeah,
right?
what determines your life. So we've got Moiraine and the girls, and now Matt know about the doorway.
Yeah.
So who's going through?
Yeah, I don't know.
No, you got to guess. Out of the people who know, so Moiraine, Nynaeve, Elaine, Egwene, and Matt, 5 people. Well, I guess Lan probably knows too.
Yeah, I don't think Lan's going through it.
Okay. Out of the 5.
Egwene will.
Egwene? Is Moiraine going to go? Because she was like, oh, maybe I'm going to have to, like, do
I
something.
think, if anything, she'll, like, get Egwene to do it or something.
Do it for her?
Yeah.
Go ask these questions.
Yeah.
You go into the Cave of Wonders.
And I do think that Matt is going to come somewhere near it.
Close, but not quite?
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. I think it'll be exciting. But speaking of this doorway terangrial.
Yeah.
So we have a new producer level patron.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
And as everybody knows, producer level patrons get to ask us a question or have a comment.
And we have to answer them or talk about them.
Yeah, during a regular episode.
You know, I gotta say, I like it. It's fun for me.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So Sarah wants to know, knowing what Moraine has told us about the doorway terangrial and the rules for using it, would either of you use it in real life, or if you were a character in the story?
Okay. You go first.
Say, for real life?
Yeah.
I would say no.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't, only because I'm not going to, like, a psychic for future tellings, you know?
Yeah, we paid that hustler $80 one time.
Yeah, that one time. That was
Told
just
us we're
at,
gonna
like,
live on a
fair.
farm. The
that
liars.
was just at a fair. Yeah, that was dumb. But I think that knowing things about my future would cause me too much anxiety in my real life.
Yeah. Okay.
I would be, and I also don't want to know about things in my past.
Sure.
Like, I don't want to have regrets. So I tend to just sort of live the whole everything has a purpose.
Sure, yeah.
Type of life. And if I did something that was bad then, it teaches me a lesson now. And I just have too much anxiety to deal with that.
Okay.
So I couldn't.
So
probably.
as a character in the book, though?
Oh, yeah, I'm doing it.
You're doing it? Just.
I think that probably Moraine. I think that if I was like Moraine, I would just, like, go do it.
Just go and do it?
Or like Matt. Or, like, I think that they have some serious questions, and it's, like, the power and all that stuff is, like...
So here's the thing. The rules don't seem that bad as long as you can keep your mouth shut about...
The problem is we don't know actually all the rules, and it seems a little...
Yeah, that's true, too. So in real life, I would, and in the story,
You
I would. I would. I can't lie about that.
What questions would you ask?
I don't know, but I try and think about them a little bit more, because you don't want to ask, what did it say, superficial questions or something like that?
Yeah.
That's the rule, like nothing flimsy.
Yes.
So you can't be like, what are the winning lottery numbers? That's not really, that's like too, you know.
What if you're going to use your winnings to benefit a bunch of underprivileged children?
Build a school for kids who want to learn how to read good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would. I for sure would. I couldn't not. I'd be too curious, and I'd always think, how would things be different if I had have, like, done that if I didn't, you know?
I guess.
I'd have to. I couldn't not.
Okay.
I'd be too
I
curious.
find that really interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have the same reservations of not wanting to know about my future.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sure, tell me. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay. Interesting.
What are the I can't even say what the questions would be. That's going to take
Think
some
about
thought.
it. Let me know.
Okay.
Because I'm actually curious about what you would ask. That might not be for this podcast.
We
but
don't have enough time.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure, but good question. I like that.
Very good question and very relevant. So, that was great.
Yeah,
That's
on par
good.
for chapters. So.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to read on.
Yep.
I have to say, I snuck a peek.
What? At the next chapter?
Yeah.
At the title?
Yeah, and more
I don't even know what it's called.
specifically, the picture.
Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah.
It's called Decisions.
Yeah.
And it's the moon and stars.
Oh my god.
Which we know is the
Lanfear
symbol. Yeah. Well, we're pretty sure.
Daughter of the night.
Okay, all right.
I'm really excited. I'm so excited. Okay.
Of course she's going to make her reappearance at some
I know,
point,
but
right?
I didn't think this soon.
Oh, man. Okay. All right. Let's go read then.
Okay, sounds good. And I'm going to say that this is part of the pattern now.
Yeah, it's part of the pattern.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. The Wheel Weaves is hosted by Dani and Brett, edited by Dani, produced by Dani and Brett with Passion Socks, Mozyme, Moltude, Benjamin, Derek Benton, Vince Luke, Michelle O'Brien, and Sarah Wyatt. with music by audionautics.com. You can pick up your own The Wheel Weave shot glasses, frosty mugs, t-shirts, and more at newcreations.collections/the-wheel-weaves. You can become a patron at patreon.com/thewheelweavespodcast to support us making great content. You will also get access to bonus content, bonus episodes, stickers, keychains, monthly Q&A episodes, unedited video episode releases, and more. Don't forget to join the conversation over at our Discord channel. The link is posted on our Twitter page and our Patreon page. And find us on social media on Twitter and Instagram at The Wheel Weaves Podcast. Thanks again for listening to this episode. Don't forget to tell a friend about us because referrals really are the best compliment. And I'm going to say that this is part of the pattern now.